Hello, Telvani here, and I just wanted to give you guys one last update on my Lightning Conduit character. As usual, with these kind of videos, my most recent PoB will be in the description below. Not a whole lot has changed from the last video, but I figured I should share with you the changes I have made before moving on to another build. As this is the final Lightning Conduit video for the League, I'll try to be a little bit more comprehensive, although this isn't going to necessarily be a full build guide. Taking a look at our character, I am running the Annihilating Light Quarterstaff. This is where most of our damage is coming from. As with this single item, we deal triple damage with elemental skills like Lightning Conduit. There were other avenues for scaling damage, such as power charge stacking with crit-based builds using void batteries. However, scaling crit is generally more expensive than non-crit variants. Another option for scaling damage is using the Doriani's prototype chest. This is going to be your best option if all you care about is damage. However, that build causes you to insta-die to any lightning damage over time, and as such, I'm not a big fan of that archetype. All of this brings us back to the Annihilating Light. It is a fairly simple and straightforward way of scaling damage with any elemental skill. But it comes with the drawback of reduced elemental resistances. This will make it more difficult to cap elemental resistances at 75%, but not impossible. In fact, it highly incentivizes the use of Purity of Elements, something that I'm actually a fan of, since that aura gives us immunity to all elemental ailments, which in today's day and age of chills, freezes, ignites, and shocks on absolutely every single rare monster you encounter, elemental ailment immunity is an incredibly powerful stat. Next up, I am running a Gull Helmet. You can ignore the enchant here as we're not going to be using Void Sphere, although ideally you'd probably want Lightning Conduit damage or an Aura Reservation enchant. I just grabbed this one because it had the Corrupted Shock effect, and this will help us reach the shock cap for Lightning Conduit's added damage. I personally mostly enjoy mapping. Every now and then I will do some bossing, but I'd say 90 to 95% of my gameplay is exclusively mapping. So the Gull is a great choice of a helmet, as it gives the player a lot of power, especially when combined with shrine nodes on the Atlas tree. On my chest, boots, and gloves, I've looked for spell suppression and life, as well as high rolls on attributes and resistances. Getting high tier resistances is very important, again, as our staff causes us to only receive about 40% of the value of explicit resistances on gear. For my rings, I am using an Amethyst ring for a little bit of chaos resistance, and a Curse on Hit conductivity ring for extra damage. Again, we're going to be looking for life, resistances, and attributes here, although ideally you'll want to get high cast speed on them as well. My belt is just a Stygian Vise, again with life and resistances. And my amulet is a +1 amulet with an open suffix or ailment effect. Ideally you'd want to get a +6 amulet here, but that is super expensive. Moving on to the skill tree, I am running an Elegant Hubris that is giving me frenzy charges and spell damage. I am taking a Cluster Jewel with Life Leech, Energy Shield Leech, as well as Shock Effect. And one of the very nice things I've picked up here are the Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh jewels, giving Profane Bloom. This is a huge quality of life for mapping, as we'll end up having a lot of explosions going on. And this is incredibly effective, especially when fighting in cramped spaces, like Crimson Temple or Waste Pools. Moving on down here, I have moved some things around in order to be able to run one Inspired Learning. This will make mapping feel a little bit smoother, as we'll be able to pick up a few extra mods from rare monsters that we slay. Right now, the build has about 20 million Shaper DPS, and has cleared most content in the game, including the Feared and Juice Delirium mapping. However, if you're looking for an uber boss killer, you'd probably need to look into a Doriani's prototype version. And if you're looking for a Simulacrum 30 farmer, I don't think this build has enough defenses to really make that work. Right now, I've got about 100 divines invested into the build, although honestly, 50 of that is exclusively my Cluster Jewel and Profane Bloom jewels. This build can probably be set up without 100% spell suppression for around 10 to 15 divines, and will really start to shine once you're able to invest more like 30 to 50 divines into it to pick up spell suppression and get some of your Awakened gems. Anyway, thank you for watching, good luck with your league, and I'll see you in the next one.